Oh my God, 100 videos. That's crazy. Hello, wonderful people. My name is Benjamin. Welcome to my book club. And today is my 100th video on Booktube. I started last year and has just been a ball. I wanted to celebrate by finding a fun book tag video to do. Then after that, stick around because I'm going to go through some of my goals and some of my TBR stuff for the coming year. First off, I was looking for a fun book tag video to do for my 100th video, and I found a perfect one created by Booktime with 𝐓𝐢𝐬𝐿, and link in the description below to his original video. This is the 100 Booktube videos book tag, which seems pretty appropriate. So let's get into it. First question is, how long did it take you to get to 100 videos? Well, I started in February of 2024. My first video upload was the 23rd, but I'd made, I want to say about the first 6 or so videos I put together, made, and had ready before I even uploaded my first one. Second question, looking back at your first video, how does it make you feel? I thought I would hate it more than I actually did. I sat down and watched it. My first video was my review of Revelation Space by Alistair Reynolds. I actually started this whole channel because I was halfway through Revelation Space and I was like, someone has to be talking about this book as they're reading it. I was looking for a channel where people would talk about books as they go through, and I couldn't find it, so I thought I'd try and make that channel. We'll talk a bit later about how that's going. But as for how I feel about the first video, you know, it's not great. The audio quality is obviously a lot worse. I have just the weirdest camera angle. Instead of like my bookshelves and me sitting straight onto you as a camera, I'm like sitting sideways, looking over this way for some reason, and occasionally glancing at the camera. And I'm sort of like over here in like the far third, and there's all this empty space. So that wasn't good, so changing that was a big deal. I said a lot in that video. I was clearly not as confident. I'm still not very confident in front of the camera now, but overall, you know, I don't feel the urge to take it down. It's so embarrassing, you know. It's still a bad video that I'm okay with. Question number 3, which of your videos is the most successful? And it is the 2 Warhammer book lists I've done. I've done 2 big lists for Warhammer. The first was my how to get started reading Warhammer, like where to start reading Warhammer, where I go through a bunch of Warhammer 40,000 novels that I think are really good entry points into the genre, into the series, lore, sort of universe. And my other one is my top 10 Warhammer videos. My how to start one has 75,000 views at this point, which is just insane to me. It's incredible. And my top 10 one has nearly 30,000, and it's a lot newer. So those are by far and away the most popular videos on my channel, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that's here to talk about Warhammer books. But we'll talk a bit more about those Warhammer books and what you people are here for in a little bit, because it's very interesting. Question 4, which video are you most proud of? I think it's probably my latest video with where I've started the 𝐓𝐢𝐬𝐿 series by Robert Jordan. One, I think the review's just pretty good, and I also did like a dumb little skit with the green screen and my Viking outfit and stuff to begin with, which I don't know, it made me laugh, and that's all that's really important. Apart from that, my 2024 tier list video, I quite enjoyed. I enjoyed making it. It's a long video. I also have a fun skit in my Brutal 𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐿 video as well that I quite enjoyed making. I enjoy doing some fun, silly things when something comes to mind. Which of my videos has been the biggest disappointment? So, as I said, I started this channel with the idea that it would be a place to come and talk about sci-fi and horror books as I read them. The plan was to do read-alongs. I would read a few chapters of a book, do a video, talk about it with the community, read the next few chapters, so on and so on. I've done 2 of them. I've done Forge of God and Red Mars by Kim Stanley Robinson. And in both cases, I feel like the format of the videos made me enjoy those books a lot less than I thought I would. A book like Forge of God, I would get through in like 3 days normally. You know, it's like a 350, 400-ish page book. But because I was doing it for the read along, I was reading like a couple chapters, doing the video, and then waiting 2 weeks for the next video to come out, and then a few days before reading the chapters, making the video, writing the script, doing all that stuff, and talking with people in the comments. And talking with people in the comments about the book I'm reading was fantastic. I loved that. But for both Forge of God and Red Mars, it meant that I was disconnected from the storyline, really. I wasn't following the characters as emotionally as I might be had I read it normally, because, for example, in Red Mars, in the time I was reading Red Mars, I read 8 or 9 other books just on my own, so there was often a whole book or 2 between when I would read parts of Red Mars, and so that just wasn't really working for me. I could always, you know, read a chapter, make a video, read a chapter, make a video, and then just drip feed the videos over a few weeks. But that defeats the purpose. I was excited to talk to other people about it, not just to vlog my experiences, but to discuss, you know, oh, this character's doing this, what do we think is going to happen here? And so I'm really interested in, if anyone's got any suggestions for formats that might work in. Perhaps that's something I can do as, you know, in years and years down the track, maybe as like members videos or something, where I can do that a bit quicker and maybe get a bit more immediate feedback, and that might work. And maybe with a little bit less editing, because I used a lot of AI art in those videos, and now I'm a lot less comfortable with that. When I was making those, I wasn't partnered on YouTube, and I didn't really have a big issue with it. But now that I am, I feel very gross doing that sort of thing, so I'm not going to be doing that anymore. So those videos really would be just me sort of talking to camera. So I think maybe some sort of members or stream or something where it's like a lot less edited, a lot more informal might work for that sort of topic. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. But yeah, those are my most disappointing ones. People just didn't really watch them. But yeah, they were quite a lot of effort. They made me not like the books as much as I thought I would, and people didn't really watch them. So that's the state of the channel right now, is that they're probably gone. Question 6, has your channel changed over the course of producing 100 videos? Yes. If yes, is there a video that stands out to you as being a turning point? Of course, yeah. You do something 100 times, it's gonna change. You're gonna get better at it. I like to think that I've gotten a lot better at making videos. I think the videos I put out now are a lot better than my videos I made 100 videos ago. And I'm really hoping that the videos I make in 100 videos are a lot better than this video. But I think there's been 2 or 3 really big changes. The first 2 are like technical things. The first off is the new camera angle, the better lighting, the new shelves, the facing the camera and trying to look into the camera frame. That all started, I think, with my 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐸 book videos, where I've been putting together a sci-fi, a speculative fiction short story tier list, where whenever I read a short story collection, I'll go make a video and put each story somewhere in the tier list. And that started with the 𝐓𝐢𝐸𝐸 one. That was my first with this camera angle, I think. And next, I think, is probably the biggest change to the channel is just the new microphone. You know, the phone camera is perfectly acceptable. I'd love to replace it one day, and if anyone has any suggestions for some good cameras to do that with, then let me know, please. But the audio quality from the phone, I struggled to enjoy watching videos with bad audio quality. So just picking up a relatively cheap lapel mic, I think, is probably the biggest technical difference that's come along in the channel. And that, hilariously, was also in a speculative fiction short story tier list video. That one for Burning Chrome by William Gibson, I think, is the first video with the new audio, which I think sounds a lot better. Let me know if anyone has any suggestions. If you organize your videos in playlists, is there a playlist you think is especially interesting? This whole tag is just shameless self-promotion, isn't it? I love it. Yeah, absolutely, my bingo video. I love doing the bingo challenge from Reddit's 𝑟Fantasy subreddit. It is a set of reading prompts that tries to get you to read things that are kind of outside of your comfort zone, and I've got what I'm planning to reading and every book I've done for it so far in a playlist per chow. Right now I'm reading something I never would have read in a million years, purely because of the bingo challenge, and that is Ocean's Echo by 𝐓𝐢𝐸𝐸 Maxwell. This is a romance book. It is a sci-fi book, but it is also a romance book. I'm reading it for the Romanticy Square. And it's a book I never would have touched. I never would have bothered trying to pick up a romance book if it wasn't for bingo. I'm about halfway through, and honestly, I'm loving it. The sci-fi stuff has been fantastic, and the romance stuff, while very light so far, is kind of engaging, and I'm enjoying it. So there'll be a review for that coming up on the channel soon. Question 8, which video did you put the most work into producing? That would probably be the 2024 tier list video. I had the great idea that I would record the video like this to screen so that I wasn't sitting there messing with the computer doing the tier list at the time. But then that meant that while I was editing it, I had to screen record the tier list being made, and I messed that up and I had to do it a couple times. And it's also just a really long video, so it took a while. And it was my first time, I think, using my green screen. So that was a learning experience. Are there certain videos your subscribers seem to like? I mentioned the Warhammer thing before, and this is something I thought was very interesting. So my most watched videos are my 2 Warhammer lists, my top 10 lists for Warhammer. My least watched book reviews are my Warhammer book reviews. I know that lists are always going to do better, obviously. Like, my sci-fi list is doing way better than any of my sci-fi book reviews, but the gap there is a lot smaller than the gap between my Warhammer lists and my Warhammer book reviews. I'm going to keep doing Warhammer book reviews because I love reading Warhammer books, but I thought the gap in viewership between the lists and the Warhammer reviews was really funny. You know, I would have thought if the Warhammer lists are my top performing videos, then surely my Warhammer reviews would be my top performing reviews, but not so much. And question 10, if you could give a new booktuber one piece of advice for hitting 100 videos, what would it be? Just consistency, I suppose. I try and I have almost entirely hit 2 videos a week. I'm actually over that cap because I did a bunch of videos early on. Since then though, I've been trying to do 2 videos a week, every week. I've been sick, I've taken holidays, but for the most part, I've managed to get it done. And I find that even on days when I don't really feel like dragging myself to the shelves, setting up the camera, setting up the microphone, editing videos, that once I actually get started, like, I want to talk about books with you guys. I assume other booktubers want to talk about books with you guys. So, you know, just remember that no matter the effort it feels like it's going to go to, this is what we do it for. This is fun, and that's why. And, you know, if you just make yourself get started on a video, then you find the enjoyment again. And that's how I've managed to do, you know, try and keep a semi-regular upload schedule. As for booktubers that are thinking about starting but haven't, the biggest piece of advice that helped me out there was that, you know, you don't have to worry about your first few videos being bad. If you, one, they probably will be. 2, no one watches bad videos. You know, if your thumbnail's bad, your title's bad, your video's bad, no one sees it. You know, the only videos that people see a lot are good ones. So you don't really have to worry about people seeing a bad video and ridiculing you, because they just won't see it. And adding my own question at the end is question 11. Is there anyone you want to say thank you to? And absolutely, first off, thank you to everyone that's watched, subscribed, liked, commented, anything on any of my videos. The support I've received has blown me away. When I started this channel, I told my wife that my dream, that I was even scared to share because I thought it was almost impossible, was that I could get 500 subscribers by the end of 2024. And we did that, and then another 3,000. We did 3,500 subscribers last year, and I just can't believe it. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you so much to everyone that comments. Thank you so much to everyone that buys books through the Amazon affiliate links. Thank you so much to everyone that subscribes and likes and favorites the videos. I wouldn't be able to do any of this. You know, if no one was watching it, I wouldn't be able to do it. And talking with you guys about books, and especially finding out people that have read books that I've suggested and then have come back to let me know how they found them, that is amazing. That is the best part of any of my days when that happens. When someone leaves a comment saying, oh, I read this book because you suggested it and I loved it because of this, or I didn't like it because of this, no matter what the response was, finding out that someone else has read a book I suggested and then being able to discuss it with them, that's why I do this now. That's what the dream is. That is just amazing. As for some particular people, I really want to thank out Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems over here. He was the first person to sort of give me a shout out, to reach out to me on YouTube. We did a live stream together that was so much fun. You should go check it out. We've talked a lot about different books and different things, and so I just want to really thank him out for giving me an initial like sort of push and making me kind of stick with things when it was feeling a little bit hard. And my 2 top dudes on Booktube, that is Digger Dan Reads and Crizzy Books. You two have been fantastic. Thank you so much for your support and help and tags and shout outs. And if anyone hasn't seen any of these 3 channels, make sure to go subscribe now, because they are absolutely fantastic. And thanks to Book Time with Ryan for making this book tag. This was a lot of fun. Now, I want to talk about 2025. I am not a very good TBR person. The way I pick books is I finish my current book, I walk to my bookshelf, and then I stare vacantly at it for like 20 minutes until I figure out what book I feel like reading. Sometimes I'll grab 10 of them, lay them out on the floor, and see which one's vibes I'm feeling at the moment. I have almost never been able to stick to a list of this is the book I'll read next, and then this, and then this, and then actually manage to pull them off. As soon as I deadline something, it feels like a chore because my brain is broken, I think. But I'm going to try and be a little bit better at it this year. So I'm going to make a few changes this year. The first of which is this, my bounty board. These are 10 books that I made a video of. It's over here. These are the best books I've never read. Books that I've been meaning to read, most of them for years. Books people tell me I'll love, but I've just kept putting off. Books I know I owe it to myself to read. Mostly books that have been on my shelf for like 5+ years and just haven't been touched. So by the end of September, I am hoping to have hit every single one of these. And if I haven't, I'll come up with some sort of punishment. To that end, one of these books is already done. Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. The review I've talked about already, but fantastic book. First of the Wheel of Time series. Absolutely adored it. Really glad I got that bounty done. moving on. Up next, I've talked about it already, but bingo. I am going to be finishing the 2024 bingo board. This is the board with the slots that I have left. I have the romance slot finished. I have the dark academia slot finished. And there's a couple others there that I'm going to work towards. I'm hoping to have that finished by the time the contest ends at the end of March. And then I will again be doing the 2025 version. I'll wait till the board gets revealed. I'll do another video with you guys where I discuss what I'm thinking of reading for each square, and then I'll just run it all back, do this exact same thing again, try and read and review 25 books off the list. Next, to kind of give everyone an idea of what's coming up on the channel, when I finish a book, I'm putting it here. Hopefully the quality's a bit better this time. If not, I'll do a picture. This is my coming soon shelf. It'll be floating around in the background of my videos. It might be here, I might move it. And this is just the books that I've finished recently that I think I might talk about. It's not a promise. I might not make reviews of all of them. I might not talk about them, but you know, here they are. These are the books I finished recently. Let me know if you see anything here that you really want me to talk about. And that goes for just any video in the future, and that'll probably make me more likely to make a video of it. And finally, something I'm really excited about. This is my TBR jar, TB jar, JAR-BR, jar. This has a piece of paper in it with every book on my shelf that I haven't read yet. It looks very full because it is. I have a lot of books that I haven't read. I have a problem. The idea is, I'm thinking maybe about one a month, but it's just gonna kind of happen when they happen, I think, is I'm gonna pick a book from the jar, read it, and when I finish that one, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Caveats are, I've only put the first book of a series in here because I don't want to read book 2. So when I finish book 1, I will add book 2 to the jar unless I'm just going to go ahead and read it right away. 2, there's going to be stuff in here that I have read since making it. If we pull one of those, we just discard it and go on. 3, I'm currently reading the Wheel of Time series, so I'm not really looking to start any other big giant fantasy stories. So if we get something like Way of Kings or Grace of Kings or Kings of Kings, Kings of Kings, then we might just redraw. But for the most part, apart from those very specific and open-ended rules, the jar is king and his word goes. And there are whales on it, which I love. So let's pull our first book. I wonder if that sounds good or terrible. All right, what do we have? Skyward. Hopefully you can see that. That is a Brandon Sanderson book, I believe. Yep, that's Brandon Sanderson's Skyward series. I haven't read any of these. The only Brandon Sanderson I've read has been Mistborn, which I adored. That whole trilogy. I liked each book more than the last. I picked this one up from a friend. He was going to get rid of it. I don't even know if he's read it. I'll have to talk to him. All right, there we go. Yeah, Skyward, not a book I probably would have picked next, so that's interesting. Let me know if you've read this and if you're excited to hear me talk about it. Thank you so much for watching everything I've done so far. Here's to making another 100 videos, and I'll see everyone next year around this time for a 200 videos on Booktube tag, I suppose. I might have to make that one. I will see everyone next week. Thank you so much for watching, but most of all, just remember to keep reading.